Do your legs ever feel heavy and tired, almost like you are trying to walk through a pool of deep, thick, and stubborn sand? Perhaps you have noticed that even a short stroll to the end of your driveway or a quick routine trip to the grocery store leaves your calves aching. Or maybe your feet feel perpetually cold, regardless of how many pairs of heavy wool socks you put on. Many people in their 60s and 70s begin to believe that these sensations are simply the unavoidable price we pay for the gift of a long life. They assume that their walking days are naturally winding down, and that this creeping, heavy sense of weakness is just a normal part of the aging process. But I am here to tell you today that this is not always the truth. There is very often a hidden piece to the puzzle of your health, a specific nutritional need that many older adults are missing without even realizing it. I'm Dr. Adrian Keller, and in today's video, we're talking about a hidden piece to the puzzle of your health that can quietly drain the strength and stability right out of your legs, making you feel much older than you truly are. This missing piece can quietly drain the strength and stability right out of your legs, making you feel much older than you truly are. And today, we are going to find that piece together. And the surprising part is that millions of seniors are deficient in this vitamin without ever realizing it. For many decades now, I have worked as a senior health specialist, and my deepest passion has always been helping people like you maintain your independence and your freedom of movement for as long as possible. One of the most frequent complaints I hear in my clinic, day after day, year after year, is a persistent feeling of weakness or a frightening sense of being unsteady on one's feet. We often spend so much time focusing on our heart health, our blood pressure, or our blood sugar levels that we completely overlook the complex and vital mechanics of our lower limbs. Today, we are going to talk about a vital nutrient that acts as the very foundation of your circulation and your nerve health. We're going to explore exactly why your legs might be struggling and, more importantly, what you can do to bring back that sense of steady, confident movement that you deserve. To understand why your legs might be feeling heavy or weak, we first need to take a step back and think about how blood actually travels through your body. Think of your circulatory system as a vast, intricate network of highways and side streets. Your heart is the main pumping station, the central hub that sends fresh, oxygen-rich blood all the way down to the tips of your toes. This blood is essentially a fleet of delivery trucks, and their cargo is life-giving fuel and oxygen. Every single muscle cell and every tiny nerve fiber in your legs relies on these trucks arriving on time and fully loaded. When the delivery system is working perfectly, your muscles have the energy they need to lift your feet, and your nerves have the power to tell your brain exactly where you are in space. This is how your balance stays sharp and your steps stay reliable. However, as we age, those highways can become a bit more congested, and those delivery trucks can start to run low on their essential supplies. I want you to imagine a delivery service where the trucks are half empty or the drivers are lost. The neighborhood at the end of the route, which in this case is your feet and your ankles, is the first to suffer. When your leg muscles do not get the oxygen they need, they tire out incredibly fast. You might feel a dull cramp, a deep heaviness, or that frustrating sensation that your legs are simply not listening to the commands from your brain. This isn't just a matter of your birth date or how many candles were on your last birthday cake. It is often a breakdown in the supply chain. And the star of this supply chain, the nutrient responsible for making sure your delivery trucks are fully loaded and that your electrical wiring is intact, is vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 is truly one of the most remarkable and yet frequently misunderstood nutrients in the human body. It serves as the primary architect of your red blood cells. Think of B12 as the foreman at the factory where your blood is made. Without a sufficient supply of B12, the factory starts producing faulty goods. Your body simply cannot produce healthy, robust red blood cells. Instead, it produces cells that are too large, fragile, and misshapen. If we go back to our truck analogy, a B12 deficiency means those delivery trucks are broken down or too weak to carry the oxygen your muscles desperately need. When your leg muscles are deprived of that oxygen, they become weak, they cramp up at the slightest effort, and they lose their endurance. You might find yourself needing to sit down after just a few minutes of standing, not because you are lazy, but because your muscles are literally gasping for air. But the importance of vitamin B12 does not end with your blood. It is also the master protector of your nerve fibers. Your nerves are like the electrical cables that run throughout your house, carrying signals from the light switch to the bulb. In your body, these cables carry signals from your brain to your legs. These cables are covered in a very special substance called the myelin sheath. You can think of this sheath as the thick, protective plastic coating on an electrical wire. Its job is to make sure the electrical signal stays strong and travels fast. B12 is the essential ingredient your body needs to maintain this coating. When your B12 levels are low, that coating begins to wear thin or even disappear in some spots. When the insulation on your nerves is damaged, the electrical signal traveling from your brain to your feet gets leaky or weak. This is exactly why a B12 deficiency so often shows up first in the feet and legs. The signals get scrambled. You might feel a strange tingling sensation in your toes, or a feeling of numbness that makes it feel like you are walking on cotton wool, or that the floor is moving beneath you when you are trying to stand still. This is often why seniors feel unsteady. When your brain isn't receiving clear, crisp signals from your feet about where the ground is, your balance suffers. You naturally become more cautious, you take smaller steps, and you feel a constant fear of falling. It's not that you've lost your ability to walk, it's that your brain has lost its clear connection to the sensors in your feet. Now, you might wonder why so many of us start to run low on this specific vitamin as we enter our 60s and 70s. It is rarely because you aren't eating enough of the right foods, although that can certainly be a factor if your diet has become limited. For most seniors, the real issue is a matter of absorption. This is a very important point that I want to explain clearly. To pull vitamin B12 out of the food you eat, your stomach needs to perform a very complex chemical dance. It requires a specific amount of stomach acid and a very delicate protein called intrinsic factor. As we get older, the environment in our stomach naturally changes. Many of us produce less stomach acid than we did in our younger years. Without that acid, the B12 stays locked inside the food and can't be set free. Additionally, the production of that intrinsic factor protein often declines. This means you could be eating a large, expensive steak every single day, filled with B12. But if your digestive system doesn't have the keys to unlock it and the taxi to carry it into your bloodstream, the nutrient just passes right through you and ends up in the waste. You are essentially starving for a nutrient that is sitting right there in your stomach. Furthermore, many of the common medications that we are prescribed as we get older can further interfere with this delicate process. For example, many people take medications to manage acid reflux or heartburn. These drugs work by lowering stomach acid, which is great for your esophagus, but it's terrible for B12 absorption. Similarly, a very common medication used to control blood sugar, called metformin, is well known in the medical community for reducing B12 levels over time. It is a very common and very silent deficiency that can go undiagnosed for years. All the while, you might find yourself slowly losing your stability and your walking stamina, assuming it is just old age, when it is actually a nutritional gap that can be addressed. I want you to pay very close attention to your body and look for the early warning signs that your circulation or your B12 levels might be slipping. These changes rarely happen overnight. They usually start with a very subtle, almost unnoticeable sense of fatigue. You might find that you sit down in your favorite chair to watch a program, and when you finally go to stand up, your feet feel strangely heavy, or like they have fallen asleep even though you haven't been sitting in an awkward position. You might experience a brief sensation of tingling, like tiny insects crawling on your skin, or that pins and needles feeling that seems to come and go without any clear reason. Another sign to watch for is the temperature of your feet. Do your feet feel like ice even when you are under a warm blanket? This is a sign that those delivery trucks aren't reaching the end of the line. When blood flow is poor, the extremities are the first to lose their warmth. Perhaps the most telling and dangerous sign, however, is a subtle change in your balance. I often ask my patients, do you find yourself reaching for the kitchen counter or the back of a chair just a little bit more often when you move around the house? If you feel a little bit nervous when you have to walk on an uneven surface like a grassy lawn or a gravel path, it is time to listen to what your legs are telling you. These are not just minor inconveniences of aging. These are your body's way of shouting for the right tools to maintain its strength and its safety. We must also look at the everyday habits that might be making your circulation problems worse. We currently live in a world that, unfortunately, encourages us to sit far too much. For a senior, sitting for hours on end is one of the greatest enemies of healthy circulation. Think of your veins as pipes. When you sit with your knees bent for a long time, you are putting a kink in the hose. Gravity is already working against you, making it hard for blood to travel from your ankles back up to your heart. Your leg muscles, especially your calves, act like a second heart. When you walk, those muscles squeeze the veins and pump the blood upward. If you aren't moving, that pump is turned off. The blood stays stagnant, the oxygen isn't refreshed, and your nerves and muscles begin to starve. Dehydration is another major contributor that many seniors overlook. As we age, our internal thirst meter becomes less sensitive. You might go an entire afternoon without feeling thirsty, but your body may still be running low on vital fluids. When you are even slightly dehydrated, your blood becomes thicker and more viscous. Imagine trying to pump thick maple syrup through a tiny straw versus pumping water. Thicker blood moves more slowly through those tiny vessels in your feet, making it much harder for oxygen to reach its destination. And finally, we have to talk about the impact of sugar and refined carbohydrates. I know we all enjoy a treat now and then, but high levels of sugar in the blood can create a state of chronic inflammation. Over time, this inflammation makes your blood vessels stiff and narrow, a condition we call atherosclerosis. This makes the highways smaller and harder to navigate for those oxygen delivery trucks. When you combine poor blood vessel health with a lack of B12, you have a recipe for weak, painful, and unsteady legs. So, the big question is, what can we actually do about this? How do we get that blood flowing again and give our legs the support they need to stay strong? The very first and most important step, and I cannot emphasize this enough, is to have a simple, honest conversation with your healthcare provider. A basic blood test can check your B12 levels and give you a clear picture of where you stand. It is a very simple test, but it provides a wealth of information. If your levels are low, a simple and consistent regimen can be established. Because of the absorption issues we talked about, many doctors recommend a high-quality B12 supplement that dissolves under the tongue. This is called a sublingual supplement. This allows the vitamin to go directly into your bloodstream through the tiny vessels in your mouth, completely bypassing the stomach and its absorption hurdles. I have seen patients in my clinic who truly believed their days of walking for pleasure were over. They had resigned themselves to a life of sitting in a chair and watching the world go by. But once we address their B12 levels and improve their basic circulation habits, I've seen their energy return, their sensation improve, and their stability come back. It's like turning the lights back on in a dark room. You realize that you weren't broken, you were just unplugged. Beyond addressing the nutritional side, we need to focus on what I like to call the movement pump. You do not need a fancy gym membership, you don't need expensive athletic gear, and you certainly don't need to be a marathon runner to improve the circulation in your legs. You just need to keep things moving in small, gentle, and consistent ways throughout the day. If you spend a large portion of your day sitting, perhaps reading or watching television, I want you to start setting a small timer or a reminder on your phone. Every 30 to 45 minutes, I want you to stand up. You don't have to do anything strenuous. Just walk a few laps around your living room or head to the kitchen for a glass of water. Even while you are sitting, you can help your circulation. Try doing ankle pumps. Simply point your toes down and then flex them back up toward your knees. Do this 10 or 15 times every hour. You will feel your calf muscles tightening and relaxing. That simple movement is a powerful pump that helps move blood out of your feet and back toward your heart. It's like manual maintenance for your circulatory highway. If you are physically able, a gentle daily walk is truly the best medicine for leg circulation ever invented. The rhythmic, natural action of walking is exactly what your leg muscles and your blood vessels were designed for. It is the most effective way to clear out stagnant blood and invite fresh, oxygenated blood down to your feet. Even 10 or 15 minutes a day, perhaps a stroll around the block or a walk through a local park, can make a world of difference in how heavy your legs feel. I always tell my patients, motion is lotion. The more you move, the more you lubricate your joints and the better your blood flows. Please, do not forget about your hydration. Making a conscious effort to drink water throughout the day, even if you don't feel particularly thirsty, keeps your blood volume at a healthy level. It ensures that your blood stays thin enough to flow easily through the smallest vessels. Try keeping a reusable water bottle with you and taking small sips throughout the day. If you find plain water boring, add a slice of lemon or cucumber to give it a little flavor without adding sugar. And of course, we must consider what we put on our plates. Try to keep your diet balanced with foods that naturally support your nerves and blood vessels. Foods like leafy green vegetables, fatty fish like salmon, which is rich in omega-3s, and lean proteins can all contribute to the health of your circulatory system. While we talked about the difficulty of absorbing B12 from food, eating B12-rich foods like eggs and fish is still a good practice. But for many seniors, the supplement is the insurance policy that ensures the body actually gets what it needs. I know that dealing with a loss of strength or a feeling of being unsteady can be very intimidating. It can make your world feel smaller. It is very easy to start avoiding activity because you are afraid of falling or because you are tired of the constant discomfort. But I want you to understand that the more you rest, the weaker your muscles become and the slower your circulation gets. This creates a downward spiral that is hard to stop. I want to encourage you to break that cycle today by starting with one very small, manageable change. Just a little more movement, a little more water, and a little more attention to your essential vitamins can build a foundation for much better health and a much more active, independent future. Aging is not a disease. It is a transition. And while our bodies do change, we have a tremendous amount of influence over how that transition feels. You are a strong and capable individual, and you deserve to walk through your life with confidence and ease. Your body has carried you through so many years of life, through joys and challenges alike, and with just a little bit of the right care, it can keep carrying you for many more to come. It is all about understanding that your body has specific needs as it matures, and meeting those needs is a profound act of self-respect and self-love. Before we finish our conversation today, I would truly love to hear from you. It is the best part of my day to connect with this community. Please take a moment right now to leave a comment down below. Tell me your age and tell me where in the world you are watching from today. Whether you are in a small town or a big city, your health journey matters. Also, I would like to know, what is the biggest challenge you face when it comes to the strength in your legs or your balance? Have you noticed any of the signs we talked about today, like cold feet, heavy legs, or that strange tingling sensation? Sharing your own story helps all of us to learn, and it provides immense support to others who might be feeling the exact same way but were afraid to speak up. We are all in this together. Remember that great things are achieved through small daily actions. You do not have to change your entire life overnight. You just need to be consistent with the basics, keeping your nutrients balanced, keeping your circulation moving, and keeping your mind focused on your goal of staying independent. Your mobility is one of the most precious things you own, and it is well worth the effort to protect it. I want you to imagine yourself 6 months from now, walking with a bit more spring in your step, feeling more connected to the ground beneath your feet, and having the energy to do the things you love without your legs giving out on you. That version of you is possible, and it starts with the choices you make today. Stay steady on your feet, stay active in your life, and keep taking those important steps forward, no matter how small they may seem. I am Dr. Adrian Keller, and I will be right here looking forward to our next conversation about your health, your vitality, and your happiness. Take care of yourself, listen to your body, and I will see you in the very next video. Until then, be well.